lovelies. Today I have a massive unhaul for you, so stay tuned. So I have 140, if I counted these correctly, 140 books that I need to unhaul. So some of these books I've read, I've enjoyed even. I just don't think I'm going to read again, and so I have to get rid of them to make room for other books. Some books I don't think I'm ever going to read. Some books are duplicates that I don't need 2 copies, so I'm going to get rid of the other. Some I accidentally got both the hardcover and the paperback, and I don't need both. Some books were gifted, like there's some books that were actually, I won from a giveaway, but they're for my little free library, so I'm unhauling them to my little free library. Most of these will either go to my little free library or be used as like blind date with the book, or maybe I'll take them to McKay's used bookstore and trade them in for credit to get more books. But let's just go through and I'll tell you what I'm getting rid of and if I can remember why I'm getting rid of it. So let's start with this stack over here. The first one is The Menagerie by Tui T. Sutherland and Carrie Sutherland. This is what I read. I actually need to unhaul the whole series, but for now I'm unhauling this one. I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. It was cute. It was middle grade, but one that I don't expect I'll read again or continue. Then we've got The Paid Companion by Amanda Quick. This is a mass market paperback, and I think this is one that I'm just not going to read. Then I have Dean Koontz, Your Heart Belongs to Me. This is one that I had a duplicate of. A Sliver of Darkness by C.J. Tudor. This is one that I read, and I can't remember what I rated it. I want to say it was like 2.5 stars, maybe 3. So definitely not one I'll read again. So that one is going. They're all going. I don't need to say that every time. This is a 12 Days of Book Club Miss. It's little short stories. I only ever read those once. The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I read it. And I'm not going to read it again. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. Snow Like Ashes. I can't remember if I read this or not. I feel like I didn't and decided I was just going to unhaul it. Never Name the Dead by D.M. Rowell. This is a Once Upon a Book Club book. I read it. I'm not going to read it again. The Raven by Sylvain Reynard. Again, read it, enjoyed it, not going to read it again. This is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon by Stephen King. I have not read this one, but I don't think I'm really interested, so getting rid of it. One Puzzling Afternoon by Emily Critchley. This, again, was a Once Upon a Book Club book. I read it, I enjoyed it, not going to read it again. Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. I have not read this one, but I don't think I'm going to. The Castaways by Ellen Hildebrand. I have not read it, but I don't think I'm going to. Demigods and Magicians by Rick Riordan. I read it, but I don't think I'll read it again. I'm keeping like my matching sets of all my Rick Riordan books, but I don't think I want to keep all the little extra stories, so I'm going to get rid of them. And you'll see some of the main stories in here too, but it's because I have duplicates. This one's Percy Jackson, The Demigod Files by Rick Riordan. Read it, but don't need it. Queenie's Place by Toni Morgan. I just decided I'm not really interested. Bad Girl Reputation by Elle Kennedy. I think this is like the second book in the series, and I already unhauled the first book. Or it's part of the series, and I unhauled the first book. Black Enough by Ibby Zaboy. Read it, but I don't think I'll read it again. The Lost Melody by Joanna Davidson Politano. This was another Once Upon a Book Club one. It's got such pretty stenciled edges too, with like music notes. I read it, I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to read it again. Grady Hendrix, How to Sell a Haunted House. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I even marked a quote in here that I liked, which I'll share with you. It says, "You're like some kind of emotionally abusive octopus entangling everyone in your word tentacles." I enjoyed it, but I don't think I'll read it again. Jay's Gay Agenda by Jason June. Read it, but not going to read again. Never Ever Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. This is one that I had duplicates of, so I don't need this one. Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross. Ooh, there's something floating around here. This is one that I had a duplicate of. There it is. So I think I got this in 2 different book boxes, so I didn't need this one. Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. I read it, and it was okay. And I don't plan on continuing the series, and I don't think I'll reread it. The Summer of Bitter and Sweet by Jen Ferguson. I read, but don't think I'll be reading again. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Read it and won't be reading it again. It was really good though. I enjoyed it. I need to watch the movie. This is an arc of Between Burning Worlds by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. This is book 2 of the System Divine series. And I started book 1 and I DNF'd it. So I decided I don't know why I have my earbuds in still. Nothing's playing on them. Anyway, I DNF'd book 1, so I decided I'm unhauling them both. The other one is in here somewhere. The Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. I have multiple copies of this. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I think I pre-ordered this, but then I also got it in a book box, I think. So I didn't need them both. Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. I ended up with 2 copies of that. Legendary and Finale by Stephanie Garber. I'm not sure why Caraval's not in here, but that might be in a future unhaul, unless I have already unhauled it. But I read the series. I don't think I'll read it again. And then we've got Dark Fever by Karen Marie Mooning. And I love this series. But I want different editions. And I want the whole series and not a mass market paperback. Okay, then we've got The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and I'm just not interested. This is the Once Upon a Book Club edition of Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read it, I enjoyed it, but I won't read it again. Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I read it, and it was just okay. Again, I'm not going to read it again. And I don't think I'll be continuing that series. Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. This is a graphic novel. I read it. Not going to read it again. Pashmina by Nidhi Chanani. And this is another graphic novel. I read it. Not going to read it again. I'm surprised at how many of these I've actually read. So, next is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. Read it. Not going to read it again. Every Last Secret by A.R. Torr. Read it. Not going to read it again. The Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake. I think I got rid of this one because of the Goodreads rating. Never Have I Ever by Jocelyn Jackson. This is one I read, but I'm not going to read again. Okay, these are the ones that I just won for a giveaway for my little free library. So I was never planning on actually reading these. We have Angelina Ballerina, Best Big Sister Ever. Isla of Adventure, Welcome to the Island. Astrid the Astronaut by Rai Neal. Ada Lace, Take Me to Your Leader by Emily Calandrelli. Once Upon a Tim by Stuart Gibbs. Sajal Sinha, Battle Superstorms by Maya Prasad. Okay, and that's all of those. Then we have Spindlefire and Winterglass by Alexa Hillier. I think I read Spindlefire, and it was just a 3-star, and I wasn't like interested enough to continue, so I'm unhauling both of those. Charisma by Jeanne Ryan. I'm not interested anymore. Mortal Danger by Anne Aguirre. I feel like I read this one and it was just okay. That, or this is one I might have gotten rid of because of the Goodreads rating. I can't remember. Next is a Christine Feehan Holiday Treasury. This is part of like a paranormal romance series that I did really enjoy. But it's a lot of books. I read so many of them, like 20 something books, but I've had this for so long and I just don't see myself getting around to reading it, and it's thick. Next is The Demigod Diaries by Rick Riordan. This is another one of those little extra books I don't want to keep. I've read it, but I'm not going to keep it. Then we've got Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. Again, read it, but not going to read it again. Lost and Found Sisters by Jill Shalvis. I'm just not interested anymore. The Lemon Sisters by Jill Shalvis. Also not interested anymore. Between Sisters by Kristen Hannon. I did read this one. I actually didn't even realize that I had this. But this was a buddy read that I did with my coffee patrons. But I don't expect I'll read it again. Then we have Alice by Christina Henry. I read it, and I don't remember what I gave it. I want to say like 2.5 or 3 stars. It was just not my kind of thing, and so I'm not gonna read it. I think I got unhauled the rest of that series too. And we got Odds and Ends by Amy Ignatow, and I'm just not interested anymore. Crown of Stars by Sophie Jaffe. This is book 2 in the Night Song trilogy. I don't remember what book 1 is, but it may also be getting unhauled, or I've already unhauled it. I can't remember. Then we have The Time of Green Magic by Hilary McKay. I read it, but I'm not going to read it again. A Wicked Thing. I can't remember which book this is in this. There's like a trilogy, but I'm unhauling the whole thing because I'm just not that interested. Songs from the Deep by Kelly Powell. Read it. Not going to read again. You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. This was a Once Upon a Book Club one, but I have another edition that I have I think it's the UK edition of Paperbacks that I really, really like, and so I don't need this one. Then I think I actually have 2 of this same book in here, and that is The House by Christina Lauren. And this was the paperback here was a Once Upon a Book Club one, but I think I have the hardcover somewhere in here as well. And this has I read it. I'm not going to read it again. And it has a really low Goodreads rating. Then we have Mary Unleashed by Hilary Monahan. And I'm just not interested. You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. I read and was kind of a little disappointed. It was okay, but I'm not going to read it again. Then I've got Young Changemakers Making a Difference by Stacy C. Bauer. Not really interested. The Project by Courtney Summers. I read, but I'm not going to read again. Let me move over here now. Okay, then we've got The Face of Fear by Dean Koontz. This is one that I ended up having duplicates of. The Vampire Who Loved Me by Teresa Medeiros. I'm just not interested anymore. Lumberjanes Beware the Kitten Holly or Holy. It's a graphic novel. It was cute. I read it, but I'm not going to read it again. This is Xander's. It's Mastering Manga 2. Level Up with Mark Crilly. And he's not interested anymore. Here we go. The House by Christina Lauren. I don't know why I ended up with 2 copies of this. Then we've got Sky Without Stars. This is book 1 in the System Divine series. And as I said, I DNF'd that. Then we've got That Way Madness Lies, 15 of Shakespeare's most notable works, reimagined, edited by Dahlia Adler. This actually got torn, like, when I opened the box or whatever that it came in. I read it. I want to say I gave it overall like a 3-star. I'm not going to read it again. Then we got Sylvia Day, Eye of Darkness, a marked novel. I think the rest of this series is somewhere in here too. I started reading it and I DNF'd it. With a Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I read it. I enjoyed it. I'm just not going to read it again. Eve of Chaos. This is part of that series. And Eve of Destruction. I don't know which book is first, but I remember I started reading the first one and DNF'd it quickly. Then we have The Accidental Afterlife of Thomas Marsden by Emma Trevane. I'm just not interested anymore. Then we have Furthermore by Tahara Mafi. I read it. I enjoyed it, but I won't read it again. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I read it. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to read it again. Love and Other Consolation Prizes by Jamie Ford. I think this came in one of the Once Upon a Book Club Advent boxes. And I'm not interested. And then I've got Perfect Ruin and Burning Kingdoms by Lauren DeStefano. Just not interested anymore in those. Beauty by Nancy Olin. Just not interested anymore. On Second Thought by Kristen Higgins. Not interested. Hanging by a Thread by Sophie Littlefield. Not interested. Edge of Extinction, The Arc Plan by Laura Martin. I think I got this at like BEA or BookCon or something. I can't recall. But I'm really not interested. Next is Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I can't remember if I read this one or not. I actually got it signed and everything. I think I just lost interest. Then we have Two Swords by Alfredo Scimone. This is somebody that I met when we lived in Maryland, and it was the author, and he gifted me his book. Then I have An Arc of Dead Girls Walking by Sammy Ellis, and I have multiple copies of this. Then I have Girl Gone Viral by Arvin Amati, and I can't remember if I read this one or not. I feel like it's just one I lost interest in, or it may have had like a low Goodreads rating. Then we have How Beautiful We Were by Mbolo Mbew. And this one's one I just lost interest in. I think this came in one of my Strand book boxes. And I don't think I'm going to read it. Then I have This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. This is one that I ended up buying 2 copies of. I bought the paperback and the hardcover. And I don't need both, so I think I asked Marty, I was like, which one should I keep? And he pointed to the hardcover, so I'm just going to get rid of the paperback. Then I have Marley and Me by John Grogan, and I read it. I'm not going to read it again. This Art, Poems About Poetry edited by Michael Weigers. I think this was one of my daughter's books, and I'm not interested. Then we've got Max Einstein, Rebels with a Cause by James Patterson and Chris Gabenstein. This is middle grade, and I'm just not interested. Then we have In Doubt by Drusilla Campbell. I don't even know where this thing came from, but I'm not really interested in it. Then I have Our Passenger and Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken. I've read them. I enjoyed them, but I'm not going to read them again. I have All This Time. This is the Once Upon a Book Club edition by Mickey Daughtry and Rachel Lippincott. I have a signed arc of this, so I don't need this one. Then I have Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, and I read it. I just don't think I'll read it again. Mythology, Timeless Tales of Gods and Heroes by Edith Hamilton. I think this is one of my daughters, and I'm not really interested. Kissing Lessons by Sophie Jordan. I think this is one I got rid of. This is an ARC. I got rid of because of its Goodreads ratings. Then we have The Dogs of Christmas by W. Bruce Cameron. I feel like I read this a long time ago, but I don't think I'll be reading it again. Then we have Between the Blade and the Heart by Amanda Hocking. And I think this is a low Goodreads rating one. Next is Unhooked by Elisa Maxwell. Again, I think this is a low Goodreads rating one. I was using Goodreads ratings to kind of help me thin down my collection of books because I needed to make room. I just didn't have enough room for them. So anything that was under a certain point, I got rid of those. Next is Wonder Kid by Wesley Stace. This is another low Goodreads one. Then we have Secret by Lindsay Smith. I think this is another low Goodreads one. Then Sisters of the Resistance by Christine Wells. This is a Once Upon a Book Club one I read, but I won't read again. 10 Poems to Change Your Life by Roger Housden. I think this was another one of my daughters. I'm not interested. Nim's Island by Wendy Orr. I'm just not interested. Molly Moon's Incredible Book of Hypnotism. This is one I got to read with Xander forever ago. And I'm just not interested anymore. Pretty Girl Gone by David Housewright. Lost interest in this one as well. This is an arc of Nothing More to Tell by Karen M. McManus. Again, I have the UK paperback edition of this, so I don't need this one. The Voice on the Radio by Carolyn B. Cooney. This is the one that, when I was reading this series, I found I just lost interest at this point. And so yeah, I decided to unhaul it. I think I unhauled the rest of the series at some other point, but I can't remember. If not, it'll be in a future unhaul. Then I have this whole box set of Benjamin Pratt and the Keepers of the School collection by Andrew Clements. And it's still in the plastic and everything. These are ones I bought to read with Xander forever ago, and we never did. Then I have Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. I have another edition, so I don't need this one. That was The Lightning Thief. And then I have here The Sea of Monsters, Titan's Curse. And this one is The Battle of the Labyrinth. Again, I have other editions of these, so I don't need them. Oh, and same with this. This is Book 5, The Last Olympian. Next is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. This is one that I read, and I just don't think I'll read again. I did enjoy it, though. Then we have The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. I absolutely loved this book, but I have the UK paperback edition that matches all the others. Then I have She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. I read it, and I think I gave it like a 3.5 star or something like that. So I'm not going to read it again. A Stranger on the Beach by Michelle Campbell. Read it. I think I gave this one like a 3.5 as well. Then we have Mirage by Samaya Dodd. I can't remember if I read this one or if it was just I lost interest or if it was a low Goodreads rating or what, but yeah. Then I have The Lucky List by Rachel Lippincott. I have another edition of this that I believe I got signed, so I don't need this one. Then I have, which one is this? This is Ray Bear by Jordan Fuego. I ended up with so many editions of this in paperback and hardcover, so I don't need this particular edition. Can't remember if I got this one signed or not. No, I think I got my other one signed. Then I have The Two Hotel Frankfurts by David Leavitt, and I'm just not interested anymore. Oh, I need to put Lifelike in here. It's downstairs. But I'll just put that in another haul. But I started reading Lifelike and DNF'd it, and so I'm unhauling Deviant and True Life. You'll definitely see Lifelike in a unhaul later. Then we have The Ice Queen by Neil Newhouse, and I just lost interest. And then The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I actually really enjoyed this one, but I'm not going to read it again. And that is all 140 books. A lot. I was trying to do it kind of rapid fire there. So have you read any of them? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be